Hey everyone, what's going on? This is Ash and Rima from Mass Effect Odyssey, and today we bring you, we think is a theory. Did we decide on this being a theory or not?
It's a theory by someone else. We're kind of discussing,
Yeah.
kind like how we did the Citadel DLC theory. And we're looking at someone's theory and kind of talking about it and kind of thinking about the theory in terms of lore and
Yeah.
because it's an interesting thought and we like it.
Yeah, it's and like we don't want to everything like we bring in terms of theories is not going to be all about Andromeda. It's going to be about Mass Effect in general. That's what we're trying to do anyway. But a lot of it seems to be Andromeda related at the moment. But there you go. But yeah, so Rima was looking at Reddit, which is a
As
place
I do.
I never want to go because it's far too confusing for me. But yeah, so you had a look around and you spotted a interesting theory, which I've since read, and I agree it's interesting. We've already come up with some references in terms of popular TV shows and animes that use the same trope, shall we say? So obviously we'll talk about them coming up, but Rima's going to pretty much lead on this one as well because she knows a bit more about it. She had a bit more time to go through it and things like that.
Yeah.
So did you want to read the thing first and then?
I won't read the whole thing because it's quite long. I'll
Yeah,
paraphrase it.
yeah.
They've just called it a crazy theory, which is funny because that Citadel DLC was also called a crazy theory.
It's true.
But we haven't really named it. I guess we can call it like the cyclical or reincarnation or cycle theory, where the person's kind of thought about why Shepard is so unique as a person. Because it's stated throughout the game by Starchild, by Leviathan, even by the Reapers, that the Shepard seems to be unique in some way, that they seem to be, I wouldn't say immune to the Reapers' effects, but like seems to be defiant of the Reapers well more than everyone else. And the idea for this theory is that time is running in cycles, as obviously there's every 50,000 years, the Reapers come along and do the harvest, all that kind of stuff. But more so than that, it seems to be that the actual events of the universe, or events of the Milky Way, for being specific anyway, seems to be running in like a cyclical pattern every so often. So there's specific correlations between our cycle, we say our cycle, we mean in our game cycle, to other cycles that have happened in the past. And the idea is that these events seem to be reoccurring over and over again, and the only difference in our kind of cycle is that Shepard seems to have broken it somehow. And how did Shepard break the cycle? So when we talk about different events that seems to have occurred, there seems to be specific characters and specific groups and races that seem to kind of be repeating themselves over and over again. So if you look at the Protheans specifically, the Protheans are quite similar to like the Council or the Alliance races, and they kind of seem to have the same kind of like, some of the lead Prothean characters can almost seem to like represent Anderson in a way, where they're like very much where they want to destroy the Reapers. You've got Javik, who's almost kind of being thought to be kind of like a Prothean version of Shepard, the same kind of like pattern of defiance. And when you look at Javik's flashback in the From Ashes DLC, you kind of feel that. And when Javik and Shepard talk, they kind of share similarities in their personality, as well as kind of some of their journey as well. There's the different races. I'm gonna butcher some of these names, but the Za and the Zatil, which are the Quarian Geth kind of analogues in the Prothean kind of the Prothean cycle, and the Denzarin, which is the basically it was the Seren version in their cycle who wanted to basically create peace with the Reapers by submission or control. So there's kind of a lot of similarities between, and apparently there's a lot more which I haven't read into, but this thread goes on and on and on, which I haven't gone through all of them. And it seems to say that there's quite a few cycles worth of like different analogues that kind of be quite similar. And one of the points made is that Shepard seems to be able to use the Prothean cipher, which is very unusual because not many characters in the game. It seems to be Seren can use it and Shepard can use it. Can you think of anybody else that was able to use the Prothean cipher successfully?
Apart from Protheans themselves, no.
Yeah, nobody else.
Yeah.
So the idea that these specific people, what made them so special that they could use the cipher, and the theory kind of goes on a little bit more. It's quite convoluted, but when you break it down, the idea is that every cycle there's been specific groups like Cerberus. There seems to be in the last cycle there was also a group that was kind of like Cerberus that Vendetta talks about in Thessia, who were kind of like a splinter group that seemed to want to control or align with the Reapers, but they turned out to be indoctrinated. There seems to be those kind of groups. There seems to be some kind of like major alliance kind of group or council group. There seems to be a Geth-Quarian kind of relation that seems to affirm the Reaper's cause. Then there seems to be a Shepherd-like character. Now, what makes this cycle really unique is that every time the cycle has gone through, all these people have died. And no one's ever been able to defeat the Reapers. But in this cycle, Shepherd defeats the Reapers. And this person prophesizes. Should I say prophesizes? Suggests is a better word, isn't it? It suggests that the reason Shepherd was able to stop the cycle is that in our cycle, the Protheans left a lot of stuff behind. And in their cycle, they actually survived a lot longer than was thought. And they delayed their cycle a little bit, which led to our cycle kind of being delayed. And in fact, in our cycle, Shepherd actually died in Mass Effect 2. So it kind of still kind of goes along with prophecy. But in this case, because the Protheans delayed the Reapers basically didn't have enough time to stop Shepherd from coming back to life, basically, and that allowed Shepherd to break the cycle. Now, this seems really convoluted when you hear yourself talking about it.
Yeah.
But I guess the gist of it is it seems to allude to the fact that each cycle seems to be a reincarnation of the previous, and every time each of these cycles have gone by, they've learnt a little bit from the previous cycle. And that means that in the end, Shepherd was able to defeat the Reapers with this extended knowledge that has come across from different cycles worth of knowledge, which is basically symbolic of the Crucible, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
So I know that seems confusing. It was very confusing to read. I suggest you read it because it's actually very, very interesting, and the conversation in this thread is really interesting because people keep talking. People make really interesting observations, like give evidence. So like Vendetta on Thessia does state that the Reapers are not the cause of the pattern. They are servants to the pattern of the galaxy, and that this pattern seems to keep repeating itself. It's unable to be stopped. Some people think that's kind of a reference to the Light Child or the Catalyst, and the Catalyst is the master of the pattern. But even the Catalyst kind of seems to say that this pattern keeps going on and on and on. So is the pattern actually something that's uncontrollable? Will these cycles keep reincarnating themselves, and was Shepherd the one to actually break that from happening? So now that there's no longer any Reapers, will this keep happening over and over again? So then that kind of got us thinking about different medias that we've seen.
Yeah,
kind of happen.
it's kind of like because I think the generalization we came down to
Spoiler
was
alert, by the way.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some spoilers here, very specifically for one episode of Doctor Who that came out literally 2 days ago. I'm going to try and spoil that as little as possible, though. But the breakdown we had to it in terms of that was learning through different cycles a little bit more each time until the point where you can change it and stop what's going on, or change what's going on, with that cycle repeating and repeating and repeating. And this got us onto at least 2 or 3 examples where this has been used in different
media
types
altogether.
of media. Yeah. So there was the anime Steins Gate, which you mentioned, which we both love. Brilliant, really good anime. But yeah, that's about it is about time travel, but it's kind of slow to get to the time travel part, and then obviously
when you get to it, it's good.
Oh, it's very good, yeah. But yeah, still a good anime. But yeah, there's like bits in there where he has to
he has to repeat
a certain
time
event
over and over and over again,
and he has to try and stop something from happening, and he has to keep doing it over and over and over until he gets it right. With regards to the Doctor Who episode, which aired on Saturday, which I believe was called Heaven Sent, the Doctor ends up in a particular area, and it turns out that the person you see him teleport in at the beginning of the episode, it turns out he's just one of many copies that's already been there trying to solve a problem, but each time he keeps being teleported back in or copied, he's learning something a bit more every single time, gets the conclusion of escaping this particular place he's in. I think I did pretty well of explaining that without giving away spoilers.
Yeah.
So
there's quite a few. There's obviously like Life is Strange came out, and that's very much about using time travel to obviously repeat mistakes. And there's like there are loops of where can you change, learn from your mistakes, and kind of keep going and going. Source Code, we talked about that as well, where specifically Jake Gyllenhaal's character is repeating time over and over and over again,
and he's learning
and using his knowledge to kind of prevent disaster. What else was I thinking about? I don't want to ruin Battlestar Galactica, but I guess that's also if anyone's seen the ending.
So there's that there as well.
There is the ending and about learning from your mistake, and can you use the knowledge you've learned to prevent stuff from happening again.
yeah
I'm not going to spoil that because it's a big spoiler. So so I guess the idea of this theory is the cycles just a way for the galaxy to kind of keep learning? So every time the world kind of has to evolve, or anytime the Milky Way has to keep evolving again and again between these cycles, are there just the same patterns again and again? And is that proving the Reaper's point as well? Because Reapers keep saying that anytime the Reapers or the Catalyst have said that in whatever solution they've tried, the same patterns keep re-emerging, so the only way they can prevent this pattern is to destroy everything every 50,000 years. But is the pattern happening in response to the Reapers, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And every time it happens, there's just slight changes between the factions and the people. And I think there's a comment in the thread that says that a very good piece of evidence to this is when Javik is saying that, you know, this is going to happen again, that the cycle is just going to, you're going to get killed, just like my cycle. And Liara kind of points out that this cycle is different, and he's like, yeah, well, in this cycle, everyone seems to be working together. Whereas in his cycle, everyone was working under the Protheans, not working together as a collective. So is that kind of like every time they've gone through, something has been learnt along the way?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll end it there. It's not our theory, but it's a really, really interesting
It's
thought.
an interesting thought.
Time travel is awesome, but also the most confusing thing.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we both like obviously we both like Steins Gate, but we also like other time travel stuff. I like Doctor Who, and yeah, so it's always ingrained in us somewhere. But it's the most confusing thing in the world.
It's even time travel. Is it even something more like spiritual than time travel?
Maybe.
Is it like reincarnation?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy.
I think there's different things that different people can take from it, whether it's time travel, whether it's reincarnation, whether it's something else entirely. So who knows? But
that's that.
Yes, but that's that particular theory ended. But there's also something else we wanted to do as well. This is in regards to, you'll see it on screen now as well. This is in regards to the Archon logo picture that got released by BioWare some time ago. And we wanted to know, basically, because the word Archon is all divided up by the points, so it's not one word, it seems to be an acronym for something. So we wanted to know what your guys' Archon meaning would be. So what does the A, the R, the K, the C, the O and the N stand for? So you can make up your own thing, let us know in the comments of this video, and then we want the best ones, but we also want the funny ones.
Yeah, let your mind go, guys. Let's just pick the most random things ever.
Go crazy. Because we want good ones, but we want really funny ones as well. Because we're going to this is going to be obviously like, we'll do like one section of the video where it's going to be the best ones, and then the last bit of the video is just going to be the really funny ones.
The random ones, yeah.
So if you got a good one, put it in the comments. If you got a funny one, put it in the comments. It's all going to go in the video. So we're going to do a video on it, and just let us know what you think. So it's just a bit of fun more than anything. But at the same time, could open up and find out a meaning to what it actually means. So there you go. So that's it for the moment. As always, thank you very much for listening and watching. You can always subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. Again, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.